Welcome to my True Scary Story YouTube channel. I want to welcome you all and ask that you subscribe now. Comment on my newest video and introduce yourself in the comments section. The Sinful Society is very welcoming. They're some of the nicest people on YouTube. I narrate for you guys out there, and I want you to share your true scary stories with me so I can feature your scary story on an upcoming video. Cheers to the new year, and cheers to the freshest horror content on the tube. Make sure to email me at thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. I will leave a link to my email in the description box below as well. I look forward to hearing from you all. Subscribe now. Sit back, relax, and enjoy these truly terrifying hospital experiences. Nosocomophobia describes an extreme fear of hospitals. Although most people do not look forward to a hospital visit, they're not usually terrified of being admitted. Doctors, nurses, and surgeons all have our best interest at heart and strive to help us keep healthy and well. But what happens when the safe space of a hospital stay goes terribly wrong? These true scary stories about nightmare hospital experiences are bound to have you rethinking your next check-in. From a Redditor. I went in for a minor surgery to remove a lip cyst and woke up 8 days later with my right leg amputated above the knee. I had a bad reaction to anesthesia, causing heart failure. I was 23 at the time and now 24. I'm one of those people with chronic bad luck. If you're interested in photos of my coma and amputation, my progress and recovery, message me. I'm not sure if self-promoting is against the rules of this sub, so I won't share my info on this comment. From Redditor 2ZoJ10. Not nearly as bad as the rest of the stories, but when I was 17, I woke up around 2 a.m. with ear pain, and then I felt scratching. It was one of the most uncomfortable feelings ever, and I didn't know what to do. I felt like ripping my ear off. The scratching inside my ear continued for another 40 to 50 minutes, until I couldn't take it anymore. I woke up my mom and told her I had severe ear pain and scratching, so she took me to the hospital. I checked in and sat down, waited to be called. I was called a couple minutes later, and the doctor looks inside my ear and tells me there's a cockroach inside my fucking ear. So I'm panicking. He leans me over to my side, drowns my ear with water, and then I feel very lightheaded. The doctor then proceeds to remove the cockroaches from my ear with some long tweezers. It turns out there were 2 cockroaches in my ear. The worst feeling ever. From Redditor Curls in College. I got a call from my mother that my sister had been taken out of her apartment in an ambulance because she was in so much pain she couldn't walk. I lived about 40 minutes away, but I was the closest, so I went running. She's in crazy pain, but they're basically ignoring her. Not appendicitis based on the initial exam, but in that general area. They're giving her good drugs and asking her constantly if she's on her period or pregnant, but do nothing else to actually check on her. Eventually, hours later, we're taken into an exam room that fully isn't cleaned. They put a puppy pad over some blood on the step up to the chair, and they do an internal sonogram on her and say, "Honey, you need to pee. There's something in the way." She does, and they still say, "Well, something is in the way, but it's so big that we know it couldn't be torsion, which is what we're worried about. Take some drugs and go home. It's probably just cramps or a cyst that burst. Nothing we can do." She goes to her gynecologist in the morning and is then rushed into a surgery at a different and better hospital. She had a grapefruit-sized dermoid on her ovary that did in fact cause ovarian torsion. She lost her ovary as a result. From Redditor Cactus Jax 22. I was 16 and I had horrible stomach pains for about a week. I just chalked it up to the flu going around school, but it didn't go away. It continued for another week, and I lost about 12 pounds and started throwing up after every meal. My dad was sufficiently freaked and took me to the ER, and the doctor was convinced I was pregnant. She kept badgering me about it, even though I repeatedly said there was no way I could be pregnant unless I was a second coming of the Virgin Mary. I was on the verge of tears when she went so far as to tell my dad to leave the room so I could admit the truth. She finally made me pee in a cup, and surprise, no baby. Then, after just pushing really hard on my stomach and asking me if it hurt, she said it must be my kidneys and wanted to start me on meds, but warned that if it wasn't actually my kidneys, that the medication could cause serious damage. It was at this point my usually very calm and reasonable dad completely lost his mind and asked the woman if she had actually gone to medical school and pulled me out of there immediately. We went to another hospital where I found out I needed an appendectomy immediately. Screw that silly woman. Not every teen girl with stomach pains is pregnant. From Redditor, you bored now? I was in a car accident and T-boned by someone going 65 miles per hour. My hand was caught in between the collapsing car and the steering wheel. When I popped my hand out, I felt the bone break and it hurt like hell. Amazingly enough, I had no other injuries, but the EMTs were taking no chances, and thinking I was in shock, they strapped me onto a backboard and hauled me off to the ER. While in the ER, I was asked several times if I was injured anywhere, and I repeatedly said, "My hand is broken. It hurts very badly. By the way, this backboard is killing my back and my head," and I asked if I could get off. 2 hours later, I was still on the backboard, and I had lost count of how many people had asked me where my injuries were, and me repeating, "My left hand is broken." But that was when I was finally taken down to the X-ray department. There they X-rayed every bone in my body, but my left hand. I'm wheeled back to the ER, still on that goddamn backboard. By this time, I have a horrendous headache from where my head is resting on that 2x4, and I sit for another couple of hours. During that time, I was able to talk a nurse into bringing me a bedpan so I could relieve myself, and that is when the cop came in, opened the curtain so everyone could see me, and he gave me a ticket. Finally, after having been in the ER for 6 hours, I finally talked to someone into calling my mom to come pick me up. The doctor had finally said I could get off the backboard, and when my mom got there, he let me know I had no injuries. Yes, I do. My hand is broken. Young lady, I'm a doctor. I tell you when your hand is broken. That was when I grabbed my ring finger on my left hand and pulled it out, and the break became visible through the skin. My hand is fucking broken. My mother, being an attorney, just looked at the doctor and said, "Does the word malpractice mean anything to you?" Back down to the X-ray department I went, and lo and behold, my damn hand was broken. A couple of days later, when I went to an ortho doctor to get my hand re-broken and the bone set, I pulled out the X-ray to take a look to see the break and how hidden it really was. Goddamn, if you couldn't see that break right there in the middle of the bone, plain as day. It's 20 years later, the bone never did set correctly, and I'm starting to get arthritis in it. I can tell you when the weather is going to change, based on how badly my hand is hurting. From Redditor Cosmic the Dolphin. Dengue fever in a public hospital in a country that is very severely underdeveloped. I woke up from massive amounts of brain swelling, IVs in my arms, and without a clue as to where I was or what had happened. The rooms were nowhere near private, and there were around 20 to 25 other patients surrounding me, many worse off than me. I saw several die. The fellow directly beside me was in for some psychiatric issue and was chained to his bed and spent the day screaming at the top of his lungs while covered in feces. To the other side of me was a poor little kid who had recently lost a leg and was still bleeding quite a bit from his stump off and on. There was a toilet at least for all of us, but no sink to wash your hands. When I finally had the strength to get out of there, I felt as if I had been liberated from hell itself. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe now for future content. Send your scary stories to thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. The link is in the description box below as well. Till we meet again, stay sinful.